Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Taming of the Shrew, and we get to hear from someone else today. We get to hear from Gremio in this Act 2, Scene 2, Act 2, Scene 1, part of the great big Act 1, Scene 1, or Act 1, Scene 2 thing that Shakespeare decided not to split up into different acts, whatever. We're still in this same scene. We haven't made it to Act 3 yet. Gremio is, if you remember, an older gentleman who wants to woo Bianca, and to that end he had Lucentio, he brought Lucentio, who is in disguise as Cambio, to be a tutor to Bianca and Catherine, and Lucentio is, as far as we know, currently inside still doing tutory things because Hortensio, who's pretending to be Licio, came out after Catherine bashed him over the head with a lute. Gremio and Tranio came outside, or came into this room wherever. I don't know why I think we're outside. I think we're actually probably inside, but whatever. Whatever this room is where we are, Gremio and Tranio came to this room, or to this outside, with Baptista sort of towards the end of Petruchio and Catherine's little verbal sparring match that resulted in Petruchio announcing that they're going to get married on Sunday, Kate saying that she would rather that he die on Sunday, but this is how it's going to go. Petruchio has sent everybody off to start planning for this wedding that's going to take place on Sunday that Kate really doesn't want to have to participate in. So, yay, Catherine. So as soon as they are gone, Gremio and Tranio, remember Tranio is pretending to be Lucentio so that Lucentio could pretend to be Cambio so he could go and woo Bianca. But anyway, they're like, okay, so now that Catherine is going to be getting married, let's talk about Bianca. And Gremio's like, I was here first. And Tranio's like, but I love her more. So Baptista is like, all right, what do you have to offer? Who's going to be able to best take care of my daughter if she becomes yours? So Gremio, what do you have to offer? And Gremio says, first, as you know, my house within the city is richly furnished with plate and gold, basins, and yours to love her dainty hands. My hangings, all of Tyrian tapestry. In ivory coffers I have stuffed my crowns. In cypress chests, my arras counterpoints. Costly apparel, tents and canopies, fine linen, turkey cushions bossed with pearl, valens of Venice gold in needlework, pewter and brass, and all things that belongs to house or housekeeping. Then, at my farm, I have 100 milchkin to the pail, 60 fat oxen standing in my stalls, and all things answerable to this portion. Myself am struck in years, I must confess, and if I die tomorrow, this is hers. If, whilst I live, she will be only mine. So really, this is just a laundry list of everything that he has. And actually, it's kind of an impressive list. Apparently, his house is full of gold and beautiful furnishings and luxurious tapestries, the finest linens. Stuff is decorated in pearl. All of this sort of stuff. He's like, everything in my house is in the utmost shape, and I also have a thriving farm with lots of oxen, so she's going to be, and all of the things necessary to take care of that, and blah blah blah. And he says, if I know that I'm old, if I die tomorrow, she gets all of it, but only if she's my wife. So that's kind of his deal, is I have all of this stuff and it all becomes hers if she becomes my wife. And Tranio jumps on that and he's like, actually, you know what? You are kind of likely to die soon, which might not be the best, but I'm younger and alive, and I have an argosy. And Gremio's like, no, sorry. He lists a few things that he's got. Gremio's like, well, I have an argosy. And Tranio's like, well, I've got 3. Tranio, I think, at this point is kind of talking out of his butt. I think he's just trying to win this battle of who has more stuff, because remember, Tranio is wooing Bianca as Lucentio so that Lucentio can actually marry her. So I think that Tranio is just kind of going with it and trying to escalate things as if he's at an auction and he wants to win the bidding war so that Lucentio can win Bianca. And in the end, Baptista has to acknowledge that, yeah, Tranio is making the better offer, but Baptista still wants to make sure of it. So he's like, okay, Tranio had mentioned like his father would be financing her like 2,000 ducats a year or something like that. He's like, okay, get those assurances that all of these things that you've promised will actually go to her, and then you can marry her. And let's see, Kate is getting married on Sunday, so a week after that, Bianca will marry somebody, Tranio, Lucentio. She will marry you if you can provide all of these assurances. If you can't, then she's going to marry Gremio. And then Baptista leaves, and Gremio gets to like have a little grumbly moment, and then he leaves, and then Tranio gets to have a moment where he's like, oh, I got to make sure that I got all this stuff so that it can actually happen and I can actually win her. And then he goes off, and that's the end of this act. Oh, we finally made it to the end of this nebulous Act 1, Act 2 thing. So tomorrow we get to start in on Act 3, which is exciting and fun, and we get to find out what's happening with all of these weddings. And then, of course, what's interesting about this play, we get to see the aftermath of some of the wedding as well too. So it's not necessarily just a they get married and everything's fine deal, because we're only in Act 3, and Catherine's supposed to be getting married on Sunday. So that's coming up pretty soon. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.